he didn't take that next step, then maybe then, but like I wouldn't do it right now.
Speaking about accepting calls, we haven't talked a lot about AJ. I don't think it's going to happen in this window, but what I do think is this whole process has given you a clear indication that it's not when, it's not if, it's when. The Eagles are going to trade AJ Brown, and you have different windows before the draft. Post June 1st would be the most good scenario from a business perspective. And then even if you think about when the Cowboys traded Micah Parsons last year, which was late August, now that seems to be a bit of a window. How do you take this? Because you mentioned the framing with Jalen Carter. Well, that's the same framing we had with AJ Brown. It's like, well, we're not actively shopping him, but we'll listen to everything. Howie's on record saying that's my job to listen to everything. It's more to it. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, this is not just Howie's listening to occasional offers, and he's just having fun up there at the NovaCare, or not the Jefferson training.
Yeah, Jefferson Health Training. I made that mistake. Quarter in the swear jar.
Yeah, I don't think it's just him though. Going back to just like having fun, listening to offers. Like I think he knows in reality, and like the AJ Brown wants out of Philadelphia. It's clear as day. I mean, I heard Xander before I came on talking about the Albert Beer, where like basically his camp's putting out that he wants to play with pretty much a real quarterback. Quote unquote. Not, I'm kind of going a little far, but like he wants to play with a better passing quarterback is the narrative, which is interesting that that's being pushed out. I think it's been apparent just with its frustration over the last few years.
We've known that for 2 fucking years. I know. Why is this repurposed as news?
He stopped talking at the end of last year, primarily because he can't stop from telling the truth that the passing game's not good, and people take it. And sometimes it is directed at the quarterback. It's just, and then Albert Breer's, writing that he has a wish list of teams that he wants to go to. The Athletics reporting that his agent's meeting with teams at the combine to see his trade value.
Yeah.
Like he wants out. And he wants out of Philadelphia, and I agree with you. It's not if, it's when. I don't think it happens, like you said, because if I seen, the cap hit, maybe they do decide to wait. But I thought the Mike Garofolo report from NFL Network was interesting yesterday, that Howie is trying to basically split the trade in half and half so you can basically get AJ off right now. Like all the signs are there that the Eagles and AJ are working towards a trade at some point. They're both playing nice. Like AJ's, playing nice when he goes on these podcast appearances. He's not going to rip the Eagles. Of course, he's going to say Philly is my home, and like he's going to say good things. But I think ultimately they do trade AJ Brown. If they hold on to him until after the draft, I'll be curious what they do at wide receiver. Like if they draft a wide receiver in the first round, will also be another telling sign. Like they're preparing to get rid of him. I just think it's time for both sides to move on. I'm sure the Eagles don't necessarily want to trade him, but like if you have a player that doesn't want to be there, has made that openly known, is meeting with other teams to see his trade value, I think, like with an offense, I'm not saying the offense is going to be good next year, but like there's some excitement around Sean Mannion and his scheme and Devontae Smith, and I feel like there is an energy in that building. I don't know what it does for you to bring back a player that I don't think he cares what the scheme is this year, because I just don't think he fully believes it's going to work. I don't think he's believed in this passing offense for 2 years. What does it do you to bring back a player that doesn't believe in your offense, maybe doesn't believe in your quarterback, who honestly, as good as he is, there were times last year I think you could question his effort. I don't see the point in trying to, make it work again. I get the financial perspective, and that's the only reason really why, because I mean, the guy wants out. I mean, like I just don't see the benefit.
Well, if there were no financial penalty, he'd be gone. I'm convinced of that. He'd be gone. It wouldn't even be an issue. But because of the dramatic cap hit pre-June 1st and what it would mean to a team that is up against it from a cap standpoint, it's difficult to do right now.
Yeah.
So if I had 50-50 week 1 September, he's here or not, where's Cayden Steele?
I'll go 65. He's not here, or 65-35. I still think there's maybe their chance because they just can't make it work. They don't get the picks they want back, and I think it's smart business. They're not just going to trade AJ for a second round pick and a fifth. Like they're holding out, and I've seen the reporting like a first and a second, and I think that's fair. Like that's what Green Bay got for Devontae Adams, and I think at this stage, although you could say AJ he's been a little more banged up in recent years, the production has dropped. I still think he is a dynamic difference maker, especially over a team like New England, like that has no wide receivers that can really, be a difference maker. I think they're going to hold out. They're going to hold out. New England didn't get Alec Pierce yesterday. It just seems like that's kind of aligning. And if they don't, and like I don't think like even if they were to sign like Romeo Doubs or Jawan Jennings, that's not stopping you from trading for AJ Brown. So I think this is going to be a game of they're going to go back and forth for a month or like a month or so, maybe 2 months, and eventually at some point it just feels like AJ Brown's going to be a Patriot. Like maybe there's another team that gets involved, but it just seems like they're going to go back and forth, and eventually one of them's going to give in. And I doubt it's going to be the Eagles that give in. So that's why I give the 35% chances if New England just never coughs up, what the Eagles want.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to. We'll see about that. Cayden, Dallas Goedert's the last of the big four that is not signed for the Eagles yet. Do you think the Eagles could sign him today? I assume that news will come today. I'm not exactly sure. Where are you on Dallas Goedert? And are the departures yesterday, maybe, does it change the Eagles' thinking on Goedert maybe? How do you see that situation?
I don't know if that necessarily changes like how they think, because if he gets a contract they don't think is worth it, I still think he could be out the door. But I mean, I would try to bring back Dallas Goedert. I think I was the belief for most of this offseason that he would be gone. But then I'm looking at the free agency market at tight ends, and I don't think they're going to pay Chig Okonkwo a ton of money. It seems like a guy that might get overpaid, the Tennessee tight end, and then David Njoku. And if I'm signing David Njoku, and I think he is a pretty good player. I mean, at his peak, he's looked like a dominant player. Like 2 years ago, he had like over 80 catches and like 800 yards. I mean, he was awesome. But if I'm going to pay him, I might as well bring back Dallas Goedert. So I think they should try to prioritize and bring back Dallas. I mean, obviously they're going to still sign some blocking tight ends, some number 2s and 3s. I just don't want to go, if I were them, in a draft that I think is like decent at tight end, but I don't think it's like crazy strong. And be forced to draft a guy in the second or third round. Like maybe that's what they do, and they just decide to take Max Clare in the draft or Jack.
That's my guy, Max Clare.
He is good. He's good, but does he even make it to
maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
Like I just don't want to be in that position, and I think maybe they could work something out with Dallas. I'm not predicting he'll be back, but I mean that would be the one guy I would prioritize. Maybe they can give him a 1-year deal with more money. I just don't know if he's going to have like a significant market. I mean,
doesn't look like it.
Like he was
but you never know. I mean, day 2, you got these sneaky big deals still. We're not into wave 2 of free agency yet. You're going to see some big deals today, but it doesn't seem like he's got a massive market. Remember, he's going to be 32 by the end of this year, Cayden. Yeah. So, I mean, age plays into it. Was not good in the blocking game. There was a clear descent there. So we'll see what that market is like. But I agree with you. If you're going to sign somebody like Njoku, who I like too, is a great player. I love watching him when he's here a couple times for joint practices because the Browns have impressive physical specimens. They don't have a great, but you look at Myles Garrett and it's like, what the hell? And Njoku's like that on the offensive side of the football.